But I'm just telling you, when the appropriations bill on foreign operations comes to the floor of the House, because of the activities that our State Department are involved in right now, I think you have no choice but to support it.
So, did you vote in favor of the bankers' bailout?
No, I did not.
So that would be another example of a redistribution of wealth from the American taxpayers to the bankers and the insurance company, AIG, and to GM, General Motors.
It did not strike me as a good idea at the time, and I voted against it. Now, the people who supported the concept will point out that a lot of that money has been paid back.
I'm aware of that, but still, General Motors has not paid it back, right?
No, it has not. And in contradistinction to the stimulus bill, which followed just a few months later, and it was a similar size, $700 or $800 billion, that money has all been spent, and none of that will be paid back.
Okay, so you're against redistribution of wealth in principle, but on some occasions you make an exception?
Look, you do collect money from the taxpayers to fund the activities of the federal government.
Let me ask you about
the House of Representatives, the House is in charge of the purse strings, and that is what our founders wanted, and that's the way it is supposed to be. Okay, there are some activities that seem to be as of value to the country. Again, we live in a dangerous world, and in order to make that dangerous world a little more livable for our country, yeah, I'm willing to give up some things in order to do that.
But that's defense, that's not foreign aid. I mean, some of the foreign aid may be for defense purposes, but it would be more accurate to call it defense as opposed to foreign aid. Foreign aid in place that we're giving in for their benefit with no strings attached. But anyway, are you against Medicaid?
That's kind of an odd question. I mean, I don't think the Medicaid system, it's a shared federal-state system. I don't think it has worked that well. I don't think the answer that the president put forward in his health care law, the Affordable Care Act, with the vast expansion of Medicaid, I don't think that made any sense. I think if you're looking to expand coverage, I think there are better ways to go about doing that. And had they bothered to ask me, I would have been happy to help them with that.
Well, the reason I ask is because you said you were against redistribution of wealth, and it appears to me that Medicaid is an example where taxpayers are taxed in order to give free services to people that don't contribute to the federal income tax revenues.
That's one way to look at it.
So would you agree? Would you agree that it is redistribution of wealth or not?
Well, there are safety net programs that are deemed to be of value to the country as a whole. Medicaid was set up to be a safety net program. It was never intended to be the mechanism of delivery, the primary mechanism of delivering health care to vast swaths of the American people. Unfortunately, that's what the president has done with the Medicaid expansion in the Affordable Care Act. From that standpoint, I think it's wrong. From that standpoint, I think that needs to be undone. But Medicaid as a general shared state-federal obligation as a safety net program, you're not going to see it go away, and I would tell you it's just not worth the political capital to make that happen. But you darn sure shouldn't expand a program that is barely functioning, can barely keep providers in the program because the reimbursements are so low. You have to provide additional help to hospitals that are primarily Medicaid hospitals because the reimbursements are so low. It is a system that is fraught with problems, and the last thing in the world you should try to do is expand that to even larger numbers of the American people.
So in some cases you're in favor of redistribution of wealth when you think that we require a safety net for a certain group like the farmers or the...
a compelling national interest. And for the safety net program, again, you're talking about having to come up with an enormous amount of political capital to make that go away. People who are blind, disabled, people in nursing homes. Yeah, you're not going to see that